Hello, this is Pause and Practice Excel 7-3. The first thing this is going to ask you to do is to rename the file as pp7-3 user1 because we're using multiple user files on this. So we have this file, save as, and be done. Now we're going to check for issues. Okay, so what we can do up here is under File, under Info, and then we can check for issues by inspecting the document. Right, it's going to ask us to check accessibility or check compatibility. Now it notes that currently the workbook is protected, so we can choose to unprotect the workbook. So the workbook is now unprotected, so we can inspect and check for documents. So we're going to say yes to save the workbook without sheet protection. We want all these things to be done, and then we are going to inspect. Notice document properties and personal information. We say remove all, and then we're going to scroll down. We see we have hidden worksheets. Right, we do not want to remove the hidden worksheet, and we're going to hit close. So at this time, we're going to File tab, note in the Inspect Workbook group that personal information will be removed each time this workbook is saved. So what we want to do is right here where it says allow this information to be saved to your file. We're going to click this, and this property must be disabled in order to share the workbook. Now we can choose to protect workbook, and we're going to protect workbook structure. Okay, now we're going back up here, and we're going to say check for issues this time. And we're going to check compatibility. What has come back? Minor loss of fidelity. Alright, so we're okay with that. We're going to say click copy the new sheet here, and the report will appear on a new sheet. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to share the workbook. So we're going to select the Data Entry Sheet tab. We're going to click on Share Workbook. So this is currently available under the Review tab. The last thing we're going to do here is share the workbook. So we go here to our Data Entry tab. We want to share our workbook. Under Review, notice you might have where it says Protect Sheet, Protect Workbook, Allow Edit Ranges, and Unshare Workbook. Depending on the version of Excel you're using, whether it's the business version or anything like that, you might not have the option to where it says Share Workbook. If you do not, you can always go here to Customize Quick Access Toolbar, All Commands, and you'll come down to Share. And what you're looking for here is Share Workbook Legacy. You can add this to your Quick Access Toolbar. I've already done it to mine, and if we come up here and click this, you'll have an error message. This workbook cannot be shared because it contains Excel tables or XLM maps. So we actually have a table in here. It says the guest worksheet. And you'll see here that this is a table. So we can remove this table. Right? You can either right click within the table, right, go in here to Table and convert to Range, or you can go up to Design, convert to Range as well. We convert the table to a normal range, yes. So we remove the table from the workbook. So going back to our data entry, we're going to go back to our Share Workbook, and we're going to edit some of these options here. The first thing you'll note is I'm using Microsoft Office 365. So Microsoft Office 365 is an online product, and so it has me signing into my work email, accessing it through my work database, and so we have it think of what you call a co-authoring experience. So multiple authors are tracked and logged as they work online on these documents, and so they're tracked electronically. So the old sharing is a legacy system which they were using previous to this co-authoring experience. So your options might be different than what you're seeing from me here. All right. Traditionally, I would suggest using the co-authoring rather than the legacy sharing experience. So with that, up here in the corner, you would see the share button. It allows the person to share it. In my instance, they're asking me to sign back in in order to do so. So coming back up here to our share workbook, right? We're using the old co-authoring experience just for the purposes of this. We're going to keep change history for 25 days, and then press OK. So now we're going to save it, and we're going to save it as user 2. Now in this instance, we're going to come in here, we're going to type in Jennifer Sherman, intern, 32, and 12. Coming over to F4, we're going to put in a new comment box, and we're going to type in user 2. And then we're going to say Jennifer spent 2 days in Baudette. We're going to select out of there. And now if we come in over here, click on this, we can see the comment here. Now we're going to save this workbook. We're going to go back, open our user 1, and we'll see that it's not there. We're going to select cell A5. We're going to type in Alan Cronin, manager, 24 and 10, and then we're going to select cell F5 for a new comment, user 1, and Alan spent time at all locations. Okay, we're going to come up here to select cell F3. We're going to save this workbook. And remember, this is the original shared workbook. Now we're going to compare and merge. So we're going to add that function to the quick access toolbar. Come up here to the customize toolbar, all commands, and we'll be looking for the compare and merge workbooks. Add, OK. So we're going to come up here, compare and merge, and we'll select the two we want here. So we're going to select on user number 2. Well, we must already have it open currently have it open right now. So let's close this one out. Let's try that again. User 2. OK. We're going to point to F4. You can see that that comment came as well. And then F5 to see that comment. So one thing we now do is we can highlight changes. So again, if it doesn't show up there, you can always add it. And now we can say highlight changes since I last saved. Okay. And we can actually say So say when last saved, not yet reviewed, and there we go. So these changes are not yet reviewed. So we can say point to cell D5 here. Right, we can see the generated comment. Again, in the previous versions, there was the option to do track changes. So you go through, you can accept the various changes or not. Alright, at that time you're done with the pause and practice. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment and to one of the discussion boards, general course forums, or to email me. Have a great week.